Okay, I've got some questions for you. If you look up at the screen, here's the first one. Is that big enough for you to see? Maybe I can make it bigger. Let me see. There you go. That is the first question. Check with the folks in your neck of the woods. What you get for an answer there? So far. What'd you get? No. Type an exponential notation. So they mean something to the something. 8 to the third. Let's take out our notes. This is how it should look.
I bet it is.
He is correct. It is 8 to the third because when you multiply numbers, you add the exponents. Now, this does not have an exponent, correct?
But it does.
But it does because you assume it's to the first, okay? So I am 59 to the first years old, okay? Everybody agree? Well, you don't know how old I am, but does everybody agree that's what you do in this problem? Next one. Each one of these in column 1 matches something in column 2. Go. There's a thing I'm missing here because I can't. Oh, there you go. Now I can show them all.
That helps a lot.
Or I have them in
A is B and B.
The first rule. Any number to the 0th power is 1. So, this is 1, but this is not 1. Why? So, let's take out our notes and let's make sure we have that down. This is 1, but this is -1 because PE, no, LE before MD, right? You raise the number to the power first, and then you multiply by -1. You understand that? Does that make sense? So really what you're doing is you're saying 9 to the 0th equals 1 times -1 gives you -1. Third one down. Discuss it at your table. All in favor of 9, raise your hand. All in favor of 1, raise your hand. All in favor of -1, raise your hand. All who didn't vote, raise your hand. Okay. Brandon, did you not vote because it's Monday, or do you not vote because you're not sure?
Not sure.
What do the parentheses tell you to do? Do that first. Okay? So you are going to get something inside the parentheses, but it doesn't matter what that is because, what was our first rule? Any number to the 0th power is 1. So no matter what you get inside that parentheses, the answer is going to be 1. Okay? So 425, the product of 425 and 382 to the first power is, I'm sorry, to the 0th power is 1. I went down the wrong track. I was going to derail in a hurry. So this is 1 because any number to the 0th power is 1. Last one. Discuss it at your table. All in favor of 9, raise your hand. All in favor of 0, that's one we haven't guessed before. Because that's a very popular wrong answer too. Correct answer? -1, because any number to the 0th power is 1, but what are you going to do to it? Multiply it by -1. Change its sign, correct? All right. Today, in our books, we are in chapter 18. Past that. Okay, I have bad news and bad news. Thing 1, I did not get your test 3s graded. I've been working on my presentation for next Wednesday and Thursday. Actually, it's next Thursday. And that's all I did this weekend. So I did not get your test graded. I did not get your grade report out. I did not get your, this is what's due this weekend. But I didn't do it for any other class too, so don't think like I was just ignoring you guys. I was ignoring everybody. Yeah, it's become kind of all-consuming. But I do have some. Oh, and then the other part of the bad news is I don't know how I'm going to get your grades, or your final grades done by Wednesday next week. I got to get them in by then. I just have to get this presentation done. I just got to do it. But I did discover some things that I think are kind of important for you, and that is statistically, it appears as though CDTC is on the right track towards educating you down the road of passing college algebra. Okay? This is the first step in passing college algebra. Here's the really good news. Nobody that's taken this class has ever not passed college algebra. So if you're thinking, boy, I'm not sure if I can do the next step, I'm telling you, you can. Now, the data that I've come across that seems to be helpful down that path is you'll learn something about you by taking this class. Okay? How is this different than other math classes that you're taking? Well, let's set aside that they say the stuff that you learn is different. But one of the things that I think a lot of students discover is in order to succeed in a math class, you actually have to do your homework. Okay? Remember back in high school where the teacher would say, okay, do pages 14 and 18 through 18, the odd problems, and then I'll maybe collect the papers tomorrow. And you were like, cool, he's not going to collect the papers, or she's not going to collect the papers. I'm just going to just ignore my assignments tonight. Raise your hand if you've ever experienced something similar to that in your life. Okay? And the thing I like about the online homework is it's there whether your dog ate it or not. It's going to come back and haunt you for the rest of your life. Unless you actually go through the process of doing your homework. So that is an aspect that I kind of like about the online homework. The other thing that I've thought is kind of interesting is that there's a high correlation between showing up for class and passing this class. And I'm not sure what that is. If it's a signal that you are really into, succeeding, or that I'm actually teaching you junk when you show up. I'm not sure which one of those it is. If you would like to express an opinion about that, I'd be way willing to listen. What's that?
I mean, it's not bad either way.
No, it's not.
It's a good thing.
It would be nice if I'm not keeping you from coming to class. You know, like students would say, ugh, it's just a I would come to class if the teacher wouldn't be such a jerk, okay? If I'm that, I need to know that so that I can be less jerkish. Because, it's important. It should be important to all of us that we succeed at that. But anyway, I'm going to show you something that I did do over the weekend that will kind of make sense to you in what we're doing here. Where did I put it? It's got to be in college algebra. Yeah, I probably spent 20 hours this weekend working on this particular that's not good.
Oh.
Okay, so I didn't put it there. 10:36 a.m.
Good question.
Let's find it here.
Just be safe. How am I supposed to find her? Can I just tell her where I vote?
What? They have it outside.
Why did it switch to that account? Come on.
No.
Paused.
Okay.
Oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
That was only for
Sign in again. I do not quite understand why this happens.
Do you even have a cat? Because that'd be. There's a cat here. Smart.
Okay, so on this diagram, let's see, can I make it bigger? There we go. Okay, so on this diagram, one of the things you will see is that in order to get into this class, you either had to not do very well on the math fundamentals of the tailwinds. Did anybody take the tailwinds test? Okay. If you did well on that, you could have gone directly to college algebra. But the thing that I'd like to show you is, did anybody get into this class by taking pre-algebra or basic algebra or intermediate algebra? This is intermediate algebra. So basic algebra or elementary algebra? Anybody get into this by taking one of those? Okay, so you came straight from high school into this class? So you're at this spot right here. What's neat is 37% of the students go into college algebra after taking this class. Those who succeed best are those who do it next 8 weeks. Those who wait until January or the following fall to take it don't have quite as high a success rate. Any ideas why?
It's fresh.
Yeah, it's still fresh in your mind. And you're used to working hard. You've got to admit, this has been a real, I'm going to say rush, not in the sense of, yeah, this is really cool, but in the sense of, well, we are covering a lot of ground in a hurry. Okay? And you're kind of used to that, and so taking college algebra after this will not be as big a thing. You're already moving, you just stay moving. But the neat thing is, like I said, almost all of you, in fact, nobody has not passed it having taken this particular thing here before it, okay? In fact, the people at the remote campuses, Eric, you will appreciate this, succeed at a very high rate also, which is atypical of taking a telepresence class. They usually, it's very discouraging to not have the teacher in the room with you. So they also succeed. I don't know, I think this pipeline is very interesting, but the most important thing about this is 63% of the people don't take another math class at CBTC. I'm trying to think why that is. These are the people who pass it don't take another math class at CBTC. Well, I take that back. They don't take college algebra. They may take statistics. Does anybody plan on taking statistics after this? You're not sure, Julie?
No, not stats.
You're not taking stats, okay. You're not sure, Janae?
I probably will next semester.
Okay.
I'm taking college algebra.
Okay. Yeah, I substituted for Lorianne last Thursday for stats, and a lot of the people that had been in my college algebra were in that class. So apparently the sequence is you take college algebra and statistics both for your transfer. How many people are planning on transferring to someplace other than CBTC? So that's almost everybody is not in it for what we do here at CBTC, which kind of makes sense. I don't know. I think it's interesting. But anyway, that's what I did this weekend. Seems like a big waste of time, maybe, but I think how leaky the pipe is significant. Under the old plan, pre-algebra, basic algebra, intermediate algebra, college algebra, in order to get down the path, is a tough road to hoe. What I envision is someday you will be in the pipeline towards the calculus, because I want you to quit thinking of calculus as being hard, but as being useful. and it's not going to be easy because everybody has this idea that calculus is really hard. I should close the door for this part. Because we actually don't, in Calc 1 we cover 4 chapters, in Calc 2 we cover 5 chapters. That's all we do. I mean, it's like downward laws. We can take life at a much slower pace so that we get farther in depth in the things that we do, rather than like in here, where the important things are really important. A number to the 0th power is 1. That's a really important thing to note, because you get to something like this. Chapter 18. What are we going to do about pricing our products? We're on page, don't know, 132. Eduardo and Paula are starting a small business making and selling tie-dye clothing, and they disagree about the formula needed to add 65% markup to the cost of the clothing. So, we're talking about what formula should we put into a spreadsheet to get those results. This problem involves translating from math, or from English to math. And here is the sentence, here is the sentence we're going to translate. Starting at the word formula. Translate the English to math. Go. Work in your group. Eric, if you want to, you can close that shade. The sun is going on.
What are you at? What is that? Page 132. Yeah, it's a
So, this V-neck t-shirt cost $8.79. All right? We are going to figure out what the sale price is going to be. Now, they say sales price, not sale price. When I teach business math, we call it selling price. I think that's better than sales price, because sales price makes it seem like you are going to pay less than that. But what they're saying is you go out and you get a bunch of t-shirts and you pay $8.79. Now you're going to sell those to a customer. Okay? And it says you're going to sell them so that read the English one more time. The English says the formula needed to add 65% markup to the cost of the clothing. So we have $8.79. Anybody have a sample of what they think you should do to that? Let's analyze where he got that from. I get the 0.65 from the add 65% markup. Did you see those words? Add 65% markup. Okay? Where did the 1 come from, buddy?
8.79. So it's the 65% just getting took out of the.
If you are going to add 65%, what percent are you going to add it to? Where do you start?
100%.
You start at 100%, right? And you add 65%. So 100% plus 65% is 165%. Got it? What do you get when you do the math? $14.50. Okay? So, do the rest of those on the chart and let's compare our answers. $14.50. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more things left. You guys do the round neck. You guys do the child t-shirts. You guys do the skirt. You guys do the dress. And you guys do the scarf. Okay? Eric, you're on quality control, buddy.
I'll do all of them.
Give me an answer when you get them.
$16.71 for round neck t-shirts.
Okay? Wes, what you guys get?
71 cents, not
1087.
Oops, just a second, Wes. What?
I did 1087.
Rach? Maddie, you know what we're doing?
Yeah, I'm open to the page. Yep.
It's Monday. Starting on Monday is tough.
Yeah, that's why I was here.
Keegan, what you get?
For the skirt.
Yeah.
38.69.
Is that what you got, Rachel? No.
Yeah, 39.
39 what? 38.62 or 39.53. What'd you get, Savannah? Nick? Oh, Lauren?
58.86.
And Felicia or somebody at that table?
15.4.
15.4. Rachel is now ready to. Oh, Dylan, what's the question?
On art, it's supposed to be 38.69.
There we go.
I redid it. I got the same thing as them.
So we are disavowing ourselves of that answer. Now, quality control, Eric, besides calculating all of those, did anybody make a mistake?
No, they're all right.
Quality control, though, what else could you do in order to figure out, well, I'm on the right track or I'm on the wrong track? First of all, the selling price has to be more, right? So if you multiply by 0.65, you will get the wrong answer. And you will know it immediately because no company is going to stay in business if they sell stuff for less than it costs them. That's a money-losing proposition. How else can you tell you're on the right track? Well, if you look at the skirt and compare it to the scarf should sell for more than the scarf. Everybody agree everything is in line price-wise, that the bigger numbers go with the bigger price and the smaller numbers go with the smaller price? Everybody good with that? Next. Oops, where did I go?
Yes.
This is the hard part. 6 months later, Eduardo and Paula are doing very well with their business. They decided after first event that prices to the nearest cent are not very practical. It takes so much time to make change for customers. Paula revised the spreadsheet to calculate the markup and then round the prices to the nearest dollar. Okay? So on our notes, I'm going to give you some rounding rules. One way of rounding is called truncate. Truncate means to cut off. So if we were going to truncate these, we would get 16, 10, 38, 58, 15. Where did I get those numbers from?
Just cutting the cents off.
I just cut the dollar or cut the cents off, and I didn't care what it was. That is the most common mistake people make when they are asked to round a number. All right. Now, when would you truncate? I'll give you an example. Let's see. No, that one's not going to work. That one's not going to work. Somebody have one?
I would.
Yeah.
A garage sale?
Okay, when you don't care how much profit you make, but you just want to get rid of the stuff.
Yeah.
That would be a good time to truncate. No, I was thinking of a time when you would say, okay, I've got one. Let's say that you are making pizzas and you have 1,000 pounds of flour and you have 1,000,000 pounds of tomato paste, but you only have 6 pepperonis. How many pizzas can you make? However many, till you run out of pepperoni, right? Then you're done, okay?
How big are these pepperonis?
Well, that's a good question. If they're like this long, you might succeed a little bit, yeah. But the point is, when you run out of something, you are done with whatever you're going to be doing, okay? So like for instance, let's say we had 29 students that wanted to take intermediate algebra, but the class only holds 27. Okay?
Squeeze them on.
Would you agree 2 people aren't going to be able to take intermediate algebra? Okay? Now, what's the rules that you can do in order to kind of try to influence that? You want to take a class, but it's full. You don't know? Better than that, you talk to people. You say, teacher, can you let one more person into my class? And then I'll go to my boss and I'll say, can you let one more person into this class? Because an extra student costs the school money. They pay me a little bit more when more people sign up for the class. So I don't want to make that decision for the school. That's the school's job to decide if they're going to do that. So that truncating business, you kind of understand. Okay? Now I'm not sure if Excel allows truncation. Let's check and see. File, new, blank worksheet. Equals truncate. Yep, there it is. So it has a function truncate that allows you to, you take the number, what was that first one? 16.71 was it?
Yes.
So if you truncate that, it'll say $16. So truncate, Excel understands. Let's go to some more rounding situations. Now, you're used to the idea of rounding to the nearest. Okay? So, let's take those numbers, round to the nearest. What would the first item cost if we rounded to the nearest? Fellas? Oh, nobody remembers what the first one was? 1670. Oh, the very first one was 1450. So what would we round that one to? $15.
Do that.
Next one.
$17.
Next one. 11.
39, 59.
Okay. If you are taking a science, this answer would be not 15, it would be $14. Science always rounds ones that end in 5 to the nearest even. Do you understand why they would do that? Because if you always round up, you're going to make your answer artificially larger. So they say statistically what we should do is half the time round up, half the time round down. I'm telling you that's what science does, Dylan. I'm not like saying they're right. I'm just telling you what they do. Don't kill the messenger. So all the rest of them, you kind of see how to do that. And nobody needs practice with that kind of rounding, right? Okay. Here's one that people say that just drives me crazy. People say round up when they're actually talking about rounding to the nearest. Okay? Because round up means next highest. Okay? So, let's look at the prices again, and let's make them the next highest dollar. What would the first one be? 15.
17. 11.
39.
59.
59, and 16. Does everybody agree this is the one that we would round up? Okay. Now, I can give you an example of that one, and it's really, you should search YouTube videos because this is a fun one to see. Trucks going underneath railroad trestles. Anybody ever watch those videos? I got enthused about them when I was watching the news one time, and they were talking about this railroad trestle. I think it was in West Virginia or something. Anyway, over the course of a week, like 4 trucks had gone underneath it and had the tops ripped off their truck, and they had a round up problem. Okay, when you hear that the railroad trestle is at 15 feet, okay, and your truck is 15 feet 2 inches, you should have rounded the height of your truck not down to 15 feet, right? Well, it's nearer to 15 feet than it is to 16 feet, right? You should have said 15 feet 2 inches is too high for a 15-foot bridge. Everybody agree with that? Okay. There are a bunch of truck drivers who could have used that piece of information. Do a YouTube search. They're just fun to watch. Just amazingly fun to watch. I can't imagine being in the truck when that happens. You're just driving along, minding your own business, when all of a sudden you come to an absolute screeching stop. Did we talk about this a couple weeks ago with the bridges on Highway 94? Did we? When the trucks were putting tar down on the Highway 94, and they would dump their dump trucks, and then they would leave them up. There were 2 bridges that were wrecked by people doing that. They got to have some kind of safety device that prevents you from being a doofus like that. I had a friend that every year when we lived in Florida, they had a carport, and their carport was just the right height so that their van could get underneath it. Well, they would come north during the summer for vacation, visit his brother and stuff like that. And they always had a topper on top of the van because they had a whole bunch of kids. When he came home, every time he would remember that he had that topper on top, and he would not pull underneath the carport. Me, I would sometimes forget. But I think you would only forget once. In Minnesota, it's a law that you have to have your plug in your drain plug in your boat, pulled out of your boat when you're not in the water. I think just one time you would make the mistake of not putting your drain plug in before you backed into the water. A boat fills amazingly fast with water with the drain plug out. I mean, it's not like over the course of a day it will sink. That puppy will sink like in a minute, okay? It happens really fast. So anyway, that's rounding up. In Excel, that function is called equals ceiling. Now, I'm not sure why they call it equals ceiling. Maybe because they're talking about an analogy within a room. Okay? Here's the height of the water. Right? Just imagine it's up at the ceiling. So only pay attention to the ceiling. So that's round up. Round down, of course. In our case, we would round to the first one, 14, second one, 16, third one, 38, fourth one, 58, and $15. What do you see is similar to one that we've done? Did I miss one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. 10 should have been in here. What is similar to one that we've already done? Rounding down is the same as, yeah, truncating. Now, the part that I'm not sure about, why Excel needs to call this one floor when they also have a truncate button. Until this exact minute, I've never thought about it. But maybe you could look it up online and give us an extra credit response to why it has a truncate function and a floor function. But it does the same thing. Okay. Page. Whatever this is, 133. You see what they did. Okay, 15, 17, 11, 39, 59, 15. Although their products sold very well, Paula and Eduardo have some items that have not sold. They decided to put these items on sale for 15% off. Now they say estimate. I want to skip that for now. I want to go right to part B. Write a formula that they can put into cell D2 to find the new sale price of a V-neck tee, starting with the sales price here. So do that for the same ones that you did before. Do it for round neck, child t-shirt, skirt, dress, scarf, and then we'll report our values back. Go. Check with your teammates. Anybody need more time? Yeah.
The reason that there's the floor button in the trunk buttons simply because there's just differences in problems that people use on Excel. So they have to
They're going to have to do better than that. They're going to have to give me an actual,
I'm digging.
for example. Okay, so for the first one, the one that you guys didn't do, what I would do is I would take 15 times close. It's 15% decrease.
0.1.
Didn't mind this.
Negative point.
Yeah, you times by
0.85?
I heard it. Say it louder.
0.85?
0.85. Does that make sense? Because it's a 15% decrease. Does that help you with the... So if they say increase, we will add it to 100%. If they say decrease, we will subtract it from 100%. Maybe we better write that as a note. Increases add to 100. Decreases, oh no. I was waiting for this thing to die. I didn't think it would be today. Yep, it is.
I don't think this ever happened to me where I used the promise.
Oh yeah?
I'll get it right.
Yeah, but do you write as much as I do?
Probably not.
Yeah. Decreases subtract from 100. So now my first answer. Oh, just a second. I forgot what it said to do.
Okay.
Or like if you have like billions.
So when I got 1275, tell you what, let's do it both ways. Let's record the answer. And then let's do what they did for the previous one. So what should we write as the price if we don't want to deal with pennies? 13. Okay, so now you give me your numbers when you get them. Go. Did anybody have it right the first time? Frustration. Jake, you know what you're doing there, buddy?
No.
Not a clue. Somebody want to help him out at his table?
I would, but I don't know either.
Well, at least you're honest. What number are you starting with? Which group are you? Aren't you guys doing the skirt? You don't remember.
Yes, we're doing the pizza. Yeah. So it'd be 39.
It was $39.
It says 30. It says 39 in the.
It says 39 on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to 39?
Multiply
What did I do to 15?
Multiply by 0.85.
So what do you get? Now you got it? Okay, give them to me. First table. Don't know. Pardon? Yeah, you can give me the round neck. Just give me the round neck price.
The closest dollar is 14.
14. Wes?
9.
How are we rounding it again?
Nearest.
Nearest.
Yep. Give me a report. I didn't hear you guys.
33.
33.
50.
And
13.
no, what you got to make sure.
It was 13.
Yeah, like for calling.
What? Who's answering? Next?
Ours was 13, not 15.
Did I hear you wrong?
Yeah.
Get those ears checked. Oh yeah, because your original was 15. Okay, so if you compare those two, would you agree this number better be smaller, right? So when you did your math and you got 1.15 and you did the math, you would have seen on sale now for more than the regular price. That does not make sense, right? So you must have made a mistake. Either that or else you're selling at one of those clearance store places where everything is, going out of business sale. And just before they go out of business, what do?
Go back and
They raise the prices really high so that they can give you 50%, everything in the store, 50% off. Did anybody go to Yonkers when they closed
Oh,
and buy stuff?
oh yeah.
You did?
I
What
got a story about that for you. I caught a $300 bed set for $60. It was probably the best purchase I've ever made.
Now, when you say bed set, you mean like 4,000 count cotton sheets?
No,
Or?
it's just like Tommy.
Okay,
Yeah, it's cool.
so it's comfy.
Yeah, it's really comfortable. It's nice.
Sam,
Yeah, I went to Yonkers and they were the beds in the back, the mattresses. They were like used to be $4,500, and I know for a fact that those are actually price control. So when they said that it was 50% off, that's actually what they were. That's the highest they were allowed to sell it.
there's a story that's kind of like that. Columbia, when they sell jackets, every store that sells, I think it's Columbia, it's one company that sells jackets. Nobody can sell them for less than X price, and I don't even know what that price is. I have a Columbia winter coat that I wear. It's almost 20 years old. But if it ever breaks, they will replace it for free. Still.
20
Yeah.
years later.
20 years later.
What if it breaks I don't know, this year? They're like,
They always replace their stuff. Now, it's showing its age a little bit. But I'll still wear it. I mean, it cost like $200 when I bought it. So,
I gotta see this jacket.
if it gets cold enough, you will see it. If it doesn't get cold enough, you will not see it.
It's not cold enough right now, Ken?
Okay, this is like one of those that will keep you warm if it's 45 degrees below zero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the kind of. Oh, I could show you. I think I've got pictures of me fishing with it.
Yeah, let's see it.
I have to find them. Okay. Okay, next. This is the hard part. Paula and Eduardo have a few scarves that they do not sell even after being discounted. They decide to take another 15% off. Eduardo says the result is the same as a 30% discount, but Paula disagrees. Who is right and what is the new sale price? So think about it this way. You take 15% off, and then you take 15% off again.
So, Eduardo.
Paula's right, Eduardo's right. I just heard both of them being said.
Well, wouldn't you take 15% off the already discounted price, so it would be different than taking 30% off the original price?
Very good. Didn't we talk about that with the 2010 sale? Did I show you the 2010 sale? Man. Here we go. Okay, so on January 1st in 2010, I saw this ad in the paper. It came in the paper and it said 20% off plus 10% off. And I was like, this is going to be an excellent way. Hey, this is going to be an excellent way to teach my students about what do you do with multiple discounts. And so, to see which folder does it say it's in. Doesn't say which folder it's in. Save as. So it says it's in. Nope. Let's try that. Here we go. Oops.
A lot of things going on.
I know I shouldn't have called it home because that was the furniture company that had the ad. Oh, maybe I stored it under furniture. I don't know.
That's all I do, honestly.
Don't see it there. There we go. Okay. So here is the actual ad. Let's look at the price of the governor's leather sofa.
1115.
1549.99. Okay. If you have a 20% off and a 10% off sale, I'm sorry, yeah, a 20% off and a 10% off sale, what price does it become if you use his method or if you use the Eduardo's method or Paula's method? What do you get for a price?
We do it with that number?
$15,449.99. If you were doing the Eduardo method, if you were doing the Paula method, if you were doing the Eduardo method, you'd take 15.49.99 times point. Now, okay, somebody said 0.30. Now, think about it. You don't care how much you save. You want to know how much do you spend, right? That's why it's 0.70. Everybody agree with that? How would you do the Paula method? Since you had the plan, how would you do the Paula method?
Take that times 0.85 and then times by 0.85 again.
What did the first group did when you did that one? How much?
Yeah, is it 15 or 15 or 20?
It's supposed to be $1,549.99. I can't erase.
Oh no, the
we're
percentage
talking
off. Is it 15 and 15 or 20 and 10?
Or the percentage off.
Oh, I see. Yeah, this should have been 80 and 90. I'm sorry, you're right. I made a mistake there. 80 and 90. Because it was 20% off. I was thinking the Eduardo and Paula, and I was doing the math for this one. Okay, what did you get the 70% off, people? Nobody did the 70% off?
$1,084.99.
And what do you do if you do the Paula plan?
1,115.9.
Now, the verification for who is right, Eduardo or Paula, comes directly from the ad. So when we look at the price of this sofa, what do you see? Who's right? The Paula way is the correct way to do the math. So when you see multiple discounts, do each discount separately. Multiply rather than add. And that's what I think is kind of stinky about about that ad where it said 20 plus 10. It made it sound like you're adding. You're not adding, you're multiplying. And the thing that's stinky about it is, if you are an unsuspecting newbie, you would say, hey, I'll get this sofa for $1,084.99, but really I'm paying $1,115. So you're paying like $50 more than what you thought you were going to get as a deal. Yeah.
Is there a quick way, if I know 20% off and then an additional 10% off, to figure out what the total percentage off would be? Is there like a shortcut
together? But
is there a shortcut way to do that? That's interesting. Let's talk about order of operations. Would you agree they're all multiplication? So we're going to have to use multiplication at some point, right? We don't need to multiply. I'll tell you what you can't do. You can't multiply the 10 times the 20. That'll never get you down the right road. Because that'll just, you aren't taking, the second one will be a discount of a discount. That doesn't help you any. You want to have a discount of a price. The only way that you can do it is, they call them complements. The complement of, well, like for instance, that first one that we did, 15% off, and Gavin said 85%. So the complement is what you multiply. So you just keep on multiplying complements, and that will get you the percent that you would end up with. So what Sam is asking is there a quick way to do a 10% off plus a 20% off plus a 30% off? What would you do? You would multiply 0.9 times 0.8 times 0.7, and that will be the price that you pay. Okay? When we come back, it will be 9 minutes after.
Honestly, I probably did it wrong. I don't know what the freezes was, but it's fine.
Chronic case of buckling. I figured I'm not alright if I write.
He'll hit something.
Yeah.
So I won't even turn it in. I just walk over and see if you can go anything on there.
It's true. It happened once when I didn't like this, and then somebody had like one sentence in each of them and got the same one credit. Why sometimes? Why?
That's what I did to mine. Maybe a sentence or two. Double. And already get some. I can drop down.
Watching myself. Monitors got too big of a relay.
Just replay, you're like, alright, good.
That's really
Oh, it's electrical.
yeah.
You look at it, right, and then you gotta go. Oh,
And it's like
stare at the thing. You can see yourself in deep so.
oh yeah, okay.
You know,
Oh,
like you can almost
I was
touch
having a
it.
good time.
I don't like it. I'm like,
The little bit.
My mom.
Okay.
Black Ops 4. Just dropped.
The other day we were talking about percent problems that people always get wrong. Well, the one that we're going to be talking about here is one of those. Occasionally an advertisement will say, "We pay the sales taxes for you." Now, they talk about a sales tax holiday, and Wisconsin had a sales tax holiday for the first time this year. What was it?
Back to school.
The back to school sale. How did that work?
You could buy everything for school and stuff and
Okay, Wisconsin doesn't run it the same way other states do. In Wisconsin, like she said, like Julie said, it only applies to school supplies. In other states, it applies to anything. So during the sales tax holiday in Florida, the car sales are tremendous. Think about it. When you buy a car, you have to pay sales tax on it, okay? Well, let's calculate the sales tax on even a $5,000 car. Go.
It's not a $5,000 car anymore.
You can buy a car for $5,000.
Yeah.
You may not want to drive it very far. Not brand new. What'd you get?
Oh yeah, brand new. You
Lauren, what'd you get?
What are we supposed to do? Like, what's the difference?
Oh, you don't know the sales tax rate. Does anybody?
5.5.
5.5, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be $275.
How much?
$275.
$275. Is that what everybody got? 5%?
Yeah.
5.5%? Okay. Now, in Wisconsin, the state sales tax is not 5.5%. It's actually 5%. Every county is allowed to charge an additional 0.5%. The only requirement is they have to tell the state and the people what they are using their 0.5% for. Would you agree Eau Claire County is one of those that does? Actually, so is Chippewa. In fact, I think every county does. What does Eau Claire County use their money for? What? Roads, he says.
Our fourth season construction.
For what?
Our fourth season construction.
Oh, construction season? Yeah, roads.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
it's construction season.
Maybe. I don't know. That'd be interesting to find out.
It's a thing.
It is a thing. Okay? Now, there are 2 counties that charge even more than 5.5%. Jake and Wes should know.
Yeah, guys, come on.
Green Bay.
Very good. I forget what county is Green Bay County.
North.
No, other side of the bay. Pardon? No, I can't remember. It's anyway, whatever county Green Bay is in, and what do they use their money for? Pay off the stadium. Yeah. And here's the part that I kind of am resentful for. I am not a Packer hater, but I do resent that I am forced to pay my tax money for. Raise your hand if you've ever gone to a Packers game in Lambeau Field. Raise your hand if you never have gone to. So all of us are paying for something we've never been able to use to people who are already filthy rich. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. But it does if you act illogically. The illogical nature of it is, how much are they paying you to wear that shirt?
$0.
Hold it. You are wearing something that advertises for somebody and you aren't getting paid for it?
That's correct, yes.
You know, there's that guy that wears the shark costume over on the corner of London Road and Claremont. Yeah, and he's advertising for the going out of business at the furniture place. He gets paid for wearing advertising, and you're doing it for free. Okay.
Actually, less.
They had to pay for it.
Yeah,
Hold it. You paid for that shirt? You see how illogical people are about stuff like that? You're advertising for Under Armour right now. It just seems like, there's something wrong with that. Or Menominee. They probably gave you that sweatshirt though, huh? For being a member on the team?
You gotta support your team, though. That's just how it
You've
goes.
got
Come
to
on,
support
Ted.
your team.
Who's your
I'm
team?
just
I
giving you a
see
hard
you
time.
supporting the CBTC with that polo that you wear. You paid for that, or did they give that to you, Kev?
They actually did give it to me.
No. God,
That one they did, but every other shirt I've actually had done.
It's like that Jelly Belly shirt.
The Jelly Belly I actually paid for. You're right. All right. Where were we going? Oh, in the other county, Milwaukee, and what are we paying for there? Brewers Stadium. So anyway, all right. But what we're talking about now is, at some events, Eduardo and Paula have to charge sales tax. This means that the total charge is no longer rounded to the nearest dollar, and they have to take time to calculate the customer's change again. For example, for a V-neck, they need to charge about $15 to make a profit. With a 7.5% tax, the total cost is $16.13. Paula decides to set the prices so that they come out to an even dollar after the tax is added. So for the V-neck, they want the total tax to be, a total after tax to be $17. They adjust the amount up to the next dollar. What kind of rounding is that called? We just did it. What?
Rounding up.
Rounding up, or in Excel, ceiling. So you've got your prices. Let's fill them out. Oh, I'm sorry. Next page. So this is the price that they have after taxes. We want to know what formula could they put in each cell to get the pre-tax dollar for each one of those things. So if you start with $17, oops, wrong one. $17 is, well, what is it? It's the tax plus the selling price, correct? What does it say the tax is?
7.5. Yes.
0.075. This is the important thing that people miss. This makes it seem like it's 7.5 cents, right? It's not 7.5 cents. It's 7.5% of the selling price, right? Okay. So, in other words, this is another case where we're going to do what? Where did we write it? I know we did someplace. Here it is. Increase, you add to 100%, or sales tax would be another place, right? You're going to add to 100%. So what are we going to do in this case? This would be 100% of the sale price, correct? Does everybody agree? What's the total of these two when you add them together? 1.075 selling price is $17. How do you get the selling price all alone? Divide by 1.075. So what do you get for the first one? $15.81 divided by 1.075 is what?
$15.81.
And then what would you write as the price then for that first one? Since we...
Oh, you have to like round.
You have to round up $16. Okay, so do your problem and see what you get. Check with the people at your table so that we make sure that we are getting the right answers. Go. What you missing, Dylan? The writing implement?
Just had it a few seconds ago.
Is it behind your ear? That's my usual question. Where did I leave my glasses? I know I had them someplace. Where did I leave them? Kind of a sad story. I got an email from my father-in-law this morning, and he was at supper last night with his wife, and she said, "Who are you?" Yeah, she's been going downhill for a long time. Who are you? And the thing that's sad is she used to, I remember on Sunday mornings, she would do the New York Times crossword puzzle. You know, and now, who are you? They've been married for 73 years. Can you imagine sitting across the table from your wife and she says that to you? Just can't imagine what that's like. So where are my glasses? Okay, what'd you get for answers? Let's hear them. First table.
$18.
Connor? 17? That's not right.
Is this roundup?
Is that what you guys got? Wes? You're doing it from this price here.
Which one?
You got
We
11.
round up no matter what.
Should be 11.
Is that what this is? I don't know. Because I don't know.
Oh, hold it. Hold it. I think we want to keep it at this price here. Don't round it to the nearest dollar. Keep it at this price right here. That's the only way our math will work out. 11.16. So the first group, you want to give me your price again? What did you get before you rounded it to 18?
Okay.
Sam? 17.67. Next group. What did you guys get?
39.069. So 6.707.
39.07.
Yep.
Lauren?
I have no idea what we're doing.
Okay. Does anybody at your table know what you're doing?
I'm working on it.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Okay, last table.
16.
You got to get, I think it's, what was the price before?
15.81.
This is the first that I've noticed. There is another way for that last group to check their answer.
Oh my gosh.
You guys don't ever have to do anything. You just have to do the copy down my answer. That doesn't seem fair. No, it's not. Now, did you get one more? Or Nicole?
I got 59.53.
59.53. Derek, are those numbers right?
They look right.
Okay. Lauren, did that make sense to you that you would just take the price that they give you and divide by 1.075? Okay. Ways to get this problem wrong. On the final test, people invariably do this. They take, like, let's just do the first one over again. 17 times 0.075, and then they subtract that from 17. Or in other words, they take 17 times 0.925. And then they get an answer that's reasonably close to the right answer. Right? What do you get if you take 17 times 0.925?
15.72.
And so they say, well, that's pretty close to the answer that you got. That's pretty close to the right answer, so I must be doing it right. The frustrating thing for me is I've been teaching this for 20 years, and the number of times that people have gotten it right on the test, maybe 3% of the time. I am not very good at teaching this concept, okay? Because I don't understand how I cannot teach it well enough so that people remember it when they get to the test question. I've tried a million ways. I could try 1,000,001. So I'm not mad because students don't understand it. I'm mad because I don't know how to teach it so that you figure it out. It's a basic translation problem, right? What percent of $17, what percentage of $17 do you get if you subtract or if you add sales tax onto the price. It's an easy enough problem if you understand the English translation. The nice thing is, it is only one question on your test. Reminds me of when I was teaching 8th grade math. Or maybe he was in 7th grade. And Bill says to me, I'm not going to learn Roman numerals because you only have it once a year. And so I'll get those problems wrong on the test. I'm not going to do Roman numerals. And so I had to look at him and I was like, Bill, you are absolutely correct. He, by the way, now is a president of some software company down in Florida. Just an amazing kid. Can you imagine in 7th grade not being afraid to tell your teacher, yeah, I'm just going to not learn those because you're only going to ask me those questions once a year. So you're only going to get this problem one time on the test. I don't know. Can't disagree. All right, here we go. You have to give letters for each one of these. Go. Work with your group. Number 1 is going to be one of the letters. Don't try to get one of these for each of these. Try to get what this one is out of these choices, A through K.
This is a whole. I was including. I was 45%. I was including the one. Oh, I see what you're saying. So I thought it was 1 plus.
Okay, let's go. Number 1.
I got B for that one. Increased by 45%.
Good D.
What does the word increase mean?
Added on.
Added on to? What are you adding it on to? 145? No, you're only adding on 45? Does that make sense? Okay. 2. H? Is that what you said?
Yeah, H makes sense.
Does that make sense? Would you agree 0.45 is the same as a 55% decrease? With me, Matt?
Yep.
Or now? 3. H decreased by 55. 4. B, good. 5. F. Why do you think people are tempted to say G? Because they see the 345 and they see the 345 and they say, oh, those are the same thing. But notice it says increase by 345 for G. So what would be the correct way to write G in English? 4.45. Everybody agree? Number 6. D. 7.
Yeah.
It is. 8. And 9.
Also J.
Do those make sense to you now, if they didn't make sense before?
I'm confused by 5. I didn't think that. I don't get why.
Okay, let's concentrate on the word increase. Do you remember in our notes we put down increase, we add to 100%, right?
Okay.
So something, we're going to add to 100%, 245%, we're going to get 345%. Now, here's a question for you. The stock market this year has been going up and up and up until last week, Wednesday. Okay? It has gone up, I don't know, 20%. What would that be written as a, compare the old to the new? Take the old times 1.2, right? Times 20%. If the stock market takes a 20% decline, will it get back to where it was before?
Yes.
That is one of the answers,
No.
and that is the other answer. Would you agree both of those can't be correct?
It's 20%.
Let's do the math.
Whatever that is would be.
Well, let's take round numbers. 20,000, that's where the Dow Jones was at the beginning of the year. Times, what would we do since it's a 20% increase?
1.2,
And we get
24,000.
24,000. How do we get a 20% decrease? Times 0.8. What do we get?
19,200.
19,200. So do you see a 20% increase followed by a 20% decrease will not get you back to the same spot where you were? Okay. Now, what happens if the stocks go up 20% now? Will we get back up to where we started? No. Those changes are always going to take place that way because remember, you always start with the old. Okay? Now let's imagine a situation in which prices are reduced by 200%. Well, you can have a 200% increase in prices, right? What would happen if you had a 200% decrease in price? Yes?
Wouldn't you be paying your customers?
Very good. How much would you be paying them?
The full price.
Whatever the price was that it was marked for. Okay? So that skirt that was $59, here is a skirt. Please take it from me and I will give you $59. Okay? Well, that does sometimes happen, like at Black Friday, they'll sometimes say You know, the price is so much, and plus a mail-in rebate, and the mail-in rebate makes it so that they're actually paying you money to take that product. Okay. What's that?
I could live with that.
I could live with that too, yeah. Man, if somebody paid me money to wear a Packers jersey, and they gave me the Packers jersey, as long as it didn't have somebody like that was an Edfus on the back, I would be okay with that. I don't know. Anybody have somebody that?
Darren Sharper.
Okay, yeah, he's a piece of work, isn't he? Is he in jail right now still?
He raped someone.
Yeah, he played. First of all, he played for the Vikings or the Packers, and then he went to the Vikings. I do not understand why you would ever go to your arch rival. But then he played for the Saints after that, and then he raped a girl in there. Okay, I can kind of understand Brett Favre. He was desperate for a job. Okay, if you are desperate for a job, you will work for anybody. What?
You want to get revenge on Ted Thompson because he wanted to retire. He wanted to take him back after he wanted to retire.
I honestly think he would have played for anybody. He was just that kind of guy. He's like, yeah, I'm going to play football until my body gives out. And it did. And now he sells jeans for a living. I wonder if he has to pay for the jeans that he wears.
Probably not.
Probably not, huh?
I'm gonna wear a shirt for John Elway.
You are just not going to let that go, are you?
I just have never seen that, so I think it's so cool, Kev.
All right. Page 136, new concept.
Yeah, something I can try this.
You gotta think about the goal of the
Interest is the amount of rent you pay to borrow money. The amount of interest depends on three things. So I just got my bill, and my interest that I have to pay is $42,000. What three things is it based on? The amount of time that you borrow it. Good. Time is usually in years. It's abbreviated T. So my $42,000 could be that I need to pay that because back when I was a kindergartner, I borrowed 50 cents from one of my classmates. Okay. Has anybody ever heard a situation where the amount of interest is just phenomenal? There was this town in New Hampshire that they had a government bond that was worth like, I don't know, a couple $100 million. And it was because it had been borrowed back in the 1800s. And the interest just kept accruing all that time. And now they just had a big interest statement. I have a friend that worked for a company for a few years, and instead of paying him, they gave him stocks in their company. He was like, yeah, I can't put stocks on the table, so he quit working for the company and worked for somebody else. He actually worked for a school district as an IT person. Well, anyway, his mom died, and he was cleaning out his house, and he came upon these stock certificates. So he took them into a stockbroker, and the guy said, yeah, they aren't worthless. He is a millionaire, and he didn't know it because they had paid him in stocks, and his company had been purchased by somebody else, and so now suddenly his stocks were worth a tremendous amount of money. And so Paul is a millionaire. And I'm like, dude, you are so lucky. Well, he had to like work for free for a couple years. So is he lucky? No. So time is one element. Let's think of two more.
Total amount borrowed.
Okay, so the principal is in dollars. It's abbreviated P, and it's the amount borrowed. And one more.
Interest rate?
The rate. Oh, so like for instance, I could have borrowed $1 million, and that's why my interest was $42,000. Now, that wouldn't take very long until you would owe $42,000 if you had a principal of $1 million. Okay? The United States pays a little over, let me think, a little over $2 billion a day in interest. Okay? So there's 300 million people, so we pay about $7,000 each in, no. $70 each in interest every day. So over the course of a year, we would owe like $70,000 in interest. Or I'm sorry, $20,000 in interest every year, each one of us. So the United States is borrowing money. Who are they borrowing it from? Well, that's one place, yeah. The other place is people are buying government bonds, and so we're actually borrowing it from ourselves. Why don't we just say, let's just cancel it, and then we won't owe ourselves anything? That doesn't make any sense, right? Because it's not all of us that we're borrowing from. It's particular people that are buying those bonds. Does anybody have any savings bonds? Okay. You do? How much?
I don't know. My grandma used to
I
buy
don't know.
Well, my mom keeps them all in a safe, but every year my grandma gets me one.
Oh, that's
Like,
very nice.
gives
Will
me
she give me some?
each of her grandmas.
Somebody else had their... Yeah.
I got a cool $20.
Yeah, and then Maddie said she cashed all hers in.
Yeah, like right before I started college.
That's usually why grandparents give us money, is that we can pay for college. That's very nice of them to do that. What's that? Yeah, so those savings bonds are a good deal. I'll give you an example. Oh, I'm sorry I'm picking on the Packers. I'll give you an example that's not a good deal. Does anybody own stock in the Packers?
No, but I know.
For the cool price of,
Like $5 a year.
oh, if it were only $5. A share costs $250, I believe. Check it out on the internet.
See what
What's that? But you get a cool certificate that says, I gave $250 and I got this piece of paper.
They said something.
You can't sell it. What you can do, I think you can show up at the shareholders meeting in the summer in Green Bay and sit in the hot stadium in the sun while they tell you what the Packers are worth. I think you can do that.
I went to Atlanta like 2 weeks ago, and they said you could buy part of a share for $5.
Oh, a part of a share.
Not a whole share.
Not a whole share. But you don't get the cool certificate if you only buy part of one. Yeah.
So you're telling me you're going to pay $250 for a share on the Green Bay Packers, but you can't sell that share if the stock increases?
Correct.
It's literally
Because
they don't.
literally, so you can say you have a share of the Packers.
That's
the real
literally
reason.
the reason.
That's whack.
They're talking about how like the Packers was based off of like donations like a long time ago, so that's why.
Okay. Now, on that same note, I think that's way better than being a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, because that Jerry Jones guy that owns the Cowboys, he paid like 1/100th of what they're worth, and now they're worth, billions of dollars. And at whose expense? We talk about how much players make in money. those owners make money hand over fist. How do you know that? Look at what the Packers are doing. They have to give their money away to buy areas around Packers Stadium because they can't do anything with the profits. So the government won't allow them to. All right, so rate is the last thing left. The interest rate is in percents, but we write it as a decimal. Now, I could owe $42,000 in interest if I would have borrowed from Guido. What am I talking about? Where you like borrow money from a loan shark? Why would you do that if you're going to pay a huge amount of interest, like 10% interest per day?
So bad credit, so you need to.
Yeah, you need the money really bad. Is that what you're going to say?
I was gonna say, or like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Armageddon with Bruce Willis. You might be dying soon, so you take out a big one before you pass away, so you don't have to pay it back.
So you don't have to pay it back. Okay? Now, are there any places in Eau Claire where they would charge you just a huge interest rate?
Pawn shops.
That's one. Pawn shops charge a huge interest rate. There's two more.
Like those quick cash centers.
Okay, and there's two ways a quick cash center works. Sometimes they call them payday loans, and the other one is title loans. Okay, so what's the difference? On a payday loan, they'll give you money if you give them your paycheck. A title loan, they will give you money if you give them your title for your vehicle. The only thing that people don't realize is that giving somebody the title to your vehicle means it's not your car anymore. They are letting you drive their car. Hey, that's an important thing to know. And the thing that just boggles my mind about that is how you would ever think somebody is going to give you money if all you give them is a piece of paper that isn't worth something. Okay? Maybe you were buying stock in the Packers. I'm not sure, but it just seems so weird to think about. And the other one that's weird is vaping. The number of high school kids that don't understand that vaping is actually nicotine, which is an addictive drug. They're like, really? There's nicotine in it? I just am amazed. It's the same thing. I mean, you know, and like we have them have sex education from like when they're in 4th grade. And they say, really, you can get pregnant by having sex one time? I mean, it's just the number of things that I just shake my head about that happens with high school age kids. Okay. Hey. We are going to get started down this thing of accruing interest. So let's make this chart here. We're going to go for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and we're going to have a calculation and an amount accrued. We are going to have $1,000 over 5 years, 2% annually. So let's look at the math here. In the first year, we are going to take $1,000, and we want to know how much money will we have after 1 year. What are we going to do to our $1,000? So we can, instead of just having increases and sales tax, we can do one more thing. Compound interest, we add to 100. So when it says 2%, we multiply by 1.02 and we get how much money?
1020.
$1,020. For the second year, what do we start with? $1,020. $20 times, and we get
$1,040.40.
for the third year, we start with
$1,040.40.
and we get at this point, Sam is saying, Kevin, isn't there a shorter way to do this? You're our champion of multiplying percents, right? What should we do? 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02 times 1.02. Now, can you imagine if you were doing this for 50 years? Gosh, there's got to be a better way than multiplying it times itself over and over and over again. Do it to a power. So for the fifth year, we could have just done 1,000 times 1.02 to the fifth, and we would have gotten what?
$1,104.
$1,104.08. If we would have had simple interest, this is compound interest. If we would have had simple interest, we would have taken $1,000 plus 1.02 times 5. What would have we gotten? $1.02 times 5 is $6.10, right? Oh, this is supposed to be times. We would have gotten 1,000. What do you get?
5,000.
I made a mistake there someplace. Oh, I'm sorry. 0.02 times 5. $100 exactly. So our total would be $1,100. So we gained another $4 by compounding the interest. Okay. So compound interest gives you more interest than simple interest would give you for the same amount of time. We'll start there tomorrow.
That's sweet. Really? Yeah. Oh, yo.
So did any town get more than like a measurable amount of snow? Does anybody know?
Not that I know of. My sister had some in Moorhead, but that was
That was a couple days ago, right? Does she go to school up there?